Today we're asking, are progressives taking over the Democratic Party? Tuesday's elections sent Democrats two very different messages. In Missouri, Cori Bush lost her attempt to return to Congress. I'm glad she lost. Her politics, particularly her hostility towards Israel and her association with defund the police, I certainly don't like, and they had become a liability to her. But in Michigan, Abdul El-Sayed defeated the establishment-backed Haley Stevens and won the Democratic nomination for the United States Senate. So progressives lost one prominent candidate and gained another who may be far more important. And honestly, he scares me. Are progressives taking over the Democratic Party, or is the party establishment simply failing to offer voters a clear alternative? This is Thinking Clearly, where political extremes meet the common sense center. Cori Bush's defeat matters. Democratic voters once again rejected a former squad member closely associated with democratic socialism, anti-Israel activism, and the politics of confrontation. But Democrats should not interpret her defeat as proof that the progressive movement is fading, because El-Sayed won the same night. He supports Medicare for all, has taken strong anti-Israel positions, and previously supported defunding the police before distancing himself from the phrase. That may be the most important lesson from Tuesday. The progressive left can lose one candidate while advancing through another, and the newer candidate may be much better at selling the same general worldview. After defund the police became politically toxic, many progressives stopped saying it. But did they abandon the underlying policies, or did they simply change the language? DEI also became politically damaging. Voters increasingly associated with bureaucracy, division, and institutions judging people by their identity rather than individual merit. So politicians stopped talking about it as openly. But again, did the ideology disappear, or was it simply repackaged? Medicare for all certainly has not disappeared. It remains central to El-Sayed's politics. The progressive agenda may not be retreating at all. It may be simply getting a better sales pitch, one built around affordability and economic frustration. That is smarter politics, no question about it. But the voters still deserve to know what comes behind the new language. Israel and anti-Semitism are also part of this struggle. Criticizing Benjamin Netanyahu is not anti-Semitic. Opposing a war is not even anti-Semitic. Even opposing American military aid to Israel is not automatically anti-Semitic. El-Sayed should therefore be judged by his specific statements and actions. And I would describe him strongly anti-Israel and anti-Zionist before declaring he is personally anti-Semitic. However, I did see a clip of him in one of his rallies to his fellow Muslims, where they piped in from somewhere in the Middle East an imam who talked about getting rid of the Zionists and the problems with the Zionists and yada, yada, yada. But the Democratic Party has a much broader problem. Too many people on its progressive flank treat Israel as uniquely illegitimate. Too many regard Jewish political participation as suspicious influence. Too many excuse rhetoric that they would immediately condemn if it came from the political right. Too many Democratic leaders refuse to draw a clear boundary. Cori Bush losing does not mean the party has confronted anti-Semitism on its left. It hasn't. It only means one candidate association with that problem lost. Next week, Wisconsin will provide another test, a Democratic socialist. She actually calls herself that, Ala Mandami, and is competing in one of the most important swing states in America. This is no longer about one candidate or one election. It's about which faction will become the public voice of the Democratic Party. Mainstream Democrats cannot answer the progressive challenge simply by calling its candidates too extreme. What they need to explain is what they believe, what they reject, and why their policies would improve people's lives. Right now, they have no clear answer to Medicare for all. They have never honestly said whether defund the police is fundamentally wrong or merely badly worded. They have not confronted the failures of DEI, and they have not established a firm boundary between legitimate criticism of Israel and anti-Semitism. Did Tuesday prove that the progressives are taking over the Democratic Party? Not entirely, but it showed that they can lose one candidate and still advance through another. If mainstream Democratic leaders do not get their message straight and quickly get their act together, the progressives and those even further left will become the public voice of the party. And if that happens, Democrats risk losing large parts of their traditional coalition, moderates, the party's largest voting bloc. Working class voters, Jewish voters, suburban voters, and others who no longer recognize the party they once supported. Many increasingly find themselves in direct opposition to some of its positions and deeply alarmed by the party's inability to confront both anti Semitism and anti democratic policies on its own left flank. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you would please like this video, subscribe to the channel so we can continue to grow, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.